Hello.
I'm so sore because I've been lugging all my stuff to a storage unit.
Oh,
And
your fingers.
I woke up this morning, my fingers felt like I had arthritis, which I might.
Storage units are spooky. They're very scary, aren't they?
They are. The scariest part about this one was that the elevator was broken.
Yeah.
And I had to do everything by stair.
I just hate how the sound carries because it's like very rare that you'll see someone in a storage unit, but you'll hear people in the distance, like something close. And then it is really scary as you're like going through the maze of the storage unit. If you see someone else, like in all the times I've had a storage unit, I probably encountered a human like twice, and it was one of the scariest things I've ever seen. Because you're not expecting to, at least in the unit. Maybe you have a nicer one. I was definitely like the college kid being like, oh, first month free, second month only $20. I'm going to that place.
I definitely have been in places like this. This one is not as spooky, but it definitely is spooky.
You have a nice one, a nice storage unit.
I bougie storage unit.
If anyone wants any of Sabrina's old clothes, you can go to the donation centers.
It was one of those things where I was like, it felt so good, but I also felt so guilty because of how much money I have wasted on clothes. I truly got rid of 2 carloads with all of my seats down, full of clothes and shoes. Wild.
You like clothes, though. Like, you like fashion. And so that is what you spend money on.
Sure.
But also, you have to let go of the guilt. This is Marie Kondo, the life-changing magic of tidying up. You have to say, does this spark joy? It does not. I do not need it. I have not worn it in a couple years. Why do I feel this guilt? I don't need to. Be gone.
I hardly even thought. I just basically was like, nope, 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 nope. And if anything was just like, oh, I really love this, then I kept it. Oh. I minimized a ton, and it felt really, really good.
You're inspiring me. I want to do that. I actually told Brian, I was like, how about we get rid of your closet in our bedroom? We turn that into a linen closet, and then you take one of my closets, because we have like 2 smaller closets that are both me. But then I was feeling inspired by you. So I was like, I can make it so that I only need one closet. And he was like, I think maybe we should just wait on this idea. Fine. I want to be freed. You're free now.
It does. And I was thinking about it because I've lived in LA since 2011. So it's like 13 years now. And I don't think I've ever done
the purge.
Yeah. So there was like 13 years of clothes and shoes.
That's wild.
And I've decided that I will not. It felt very much spring cleany because this is actually like we just transitioned.
It is spring.
Into spring when we're recording this. And it was a full moon. It was just a very much like a rebirth energy going on for me.
Cleansing.
A cleansing. I love that. But I decided that if I desire buying anything new, which I know I will, I have to do one thing in, one thing out.
1 in, 1 out rule. That's a good rule. I have made that rule for myself several times, and very few times has that been successful.
I know.
But maybe it's one of those things where like I just need to watch you do it and then I'll be able to do it too. But it is hard. I've also seen people do the thing where you turn all of your hangers the opposite way.
I've seen that too. Yeah.
Yeah. And then as you grab clothing and you wear it, you turn the hanger right. And so after like 6 months or so, or like depending on your climate, because, you know, like obviously if you live in New England, you can't just be like, oh, well, I didn't wear this in the past 3 months, because half your clothes are for a very specific cold part of the year. And then after so much time, whatever is appropriate for your climate, you look and you see what hangers have not been turned correctly. And then you just grab all of those clothes. Yeah. And you let it go.
You let it go.
This is 2 Girls, 1 Ghost.
Oh, yeah. 2 Girls, 1 Ghost. And we are your ghostesses. That's Corinne. I'm Sabrina.
Hello.
I mostly kept overalls and sweatshirts.
Nice. The sweatshirt thing has always been my problem. Were you like this when you were younger, too? Because when I go home to my parents' house, I get rid of stuff every single time in my childhood bedroom. I've never added anything back in. And I still have like I had a big walk-in closet when I was younger. I was blessed with this closet. And it has taken me like 20 years to whittle down sweatshirts because for some reason I get so attached to them and I keep buying more.
Well, and especially if there's sweatshirts that I have Cape May sweatshirts, and I have I bought a sweatshirt when we were in Charleston, and there are certain sweatshirts that I'm like, I love this sweatshirt because it like reminds me of all these like memories and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like the equivalent of a coffee mug that I got in that city.
Everybody has the one thing that it's hard to get rid of.
Sweatshirt to czars.
I find myself, not to keep talking about like purging and stuff, but I feel like in order for me to have a successful purge of clothing or items or anything like that, I have to first sit down and waste an hour of time watching people get rid of their stuff on TikTok. It's like some weird ADHD body doubling sort of thing where like I can't just get up and go. I have to watch a bunch of people do it first.
Wow.
So that's not something you experience.
You need to be inspired, and that's okay.
And then if I get stuck on something, I pull up my Pinterest board and I'm like, does this exist in any various form on my dream Pinterest closet? If no, then it's not really my style.
There you go.
Because fashion doesn't come as easily to me as it does to you. So it's hard work. It's like going to college. I'm like taking classes, like trying to memorize, like, what do I like?
I like that you have your Pinterest board that you can refer to because it's like, okay, I do like this. And also, you know what? Fashion's a little bit of, I love that we're talking about fashion. This has nothing to do with our podcast. But
this is a ghost podcast.
This is a ghost podcast. But you come here for us too. So you get us a little bit.
And if you don't want us, just skip like 10, 12 minutes in the beginning and then you'll be right to the stories every single time. Pretty much.
To the stories. And then there'll be a couple tangents. But, you know, you chose to listen. You don't have to stay.
Minimum 2, maximum
we hope you
15.
Do. Fashion is like always changing. And I think, you know, you make some choices sometimes. And also, depending on your body type, things look different on you. Like some things look better versus, like, I don't know. I've tried a lot of things that don't work for me. And I look back and I'm like, what were you thinking?
What's the name of that place again that you got me those maternity overalls from?
Hatch.
Okay. Yes, I should have remembered this because yesterday I went on the Hatch website because I learned about this place through you. And I've ordered myself, this is like against the 1 in, 1 out rule, but I ordered myself from there and from Bump Suit, like 5 or 6 items each. And my maternity rule has been, because I know obviously I won't be able to wear most of these things post-maternity, that all of the clothes that I buy specifically for this phase of my life have to fit in one storage bin that I can put into the garage.
Smart.
And that's going to be
You'll have it.
It comes out.
Yeah.
Goes back in. Because it's hard because right now when I look at my clothes, I'm like, this doesn't even fit. I want to get rid of it. But then I'm like, well, it doesn't fit because I've gained 60
But that's
pounds.
also fair. Like, I feel like pregnancy and maternity clothes are an exception to the 1 in, 1 out rule because your body literally is changed. Like, you have to get new clothes.
It is.
Otherwise, you're like walking around naked. I don't know.
I also, this is like, because I'm 5'3", but I'm also very sturdy. Like every inch of my body has something in it. So I've always said, and this is true, that I weigh a lot more than I look. So like if you put me and my mom, who had the same exact body type growing up, when I had 2% body fat, I would still be like 30 pounds bigger than her, even though we looked exactly the same. So I started out denser and heavier in the beginning of the pregnancy than maybe some people would have predicted me to weigh. But I think I might break 200 in this pregnancy. And I'm kind of excited about it. And I've told a few people and they're like, no, you won't. And I'm like, no, I'm not concerned about this. I'm like a little bit excited about it.
It's an accomplishment.
Yeah. Because again, it's one of those things where like an average man who maybe weighs like 190, 200 pounds, they're walking on the street, they see little old me, they're like, I could pick that girl up. Guess what? I'm heavier than you, bitch. I will take you. I eat you for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah, you will.
I'm excited. I'm close. I'm going to get there.
I really love this for you because this is the first time where I feel like you've had so much body positivity.
Yeah.
And you deserve it.
I hope it doesn't change as soon as the child comes out, that I'm just like suddenly reversed and I'm like, oh no, what happened to me?
I'll set you straight.
Or might be. We'll see. I don't know. I'll let everyone know when I ding 200. I'll ring a bell. It'll be heard across the world.
The bell heard around the world.
Everyone put your hands together and cheer. Yay! Hear ye, hear ye. The girl has reached 200. Big day.
I really want to talk about what we were talking about before we recorded, but I can't. I need to wait. It's like...
Classic. Dropping breadcrumbs. Everyone's wanting to know.
Everyone will know soon.
Okay. Is there a date that people will know?
It's hard to know exactly when everyone else will know because we're batch recording, you know?
That's true. That's true. We're
stay tuned.
Kind of all over the place with our scheduling, so.
My hair is maybe the indicator of things.
Oh, yeah. When it was pink, when it was dark when it well even that's a little confusing because I feel like you got a bunch of haircuts and some hair dye all within like a 2-month span.
Right. But it was pink for such a short period of time. So there's like all of our encounters, my hair's pink because we recorded all of those during that period. But then
we did record a lot of those.
Some of our anyway, so today's March 27th. This episode comes out May 12th. And there are a lot of visuals in this episode. So I highly encourage you to check it out on YouTube. So, I researched in one order, but I just decided to pivot a bit and I'm going to do the episode in reverse order of my research because basically I am going to tell you about a game you can play to make contact with the other side. But to lead us into this, I wanted to talk about something we talked about in episode, I think like 3 or 4 of our podcast. Ghosts caught on camera. There have been a lot of photos throughout the years and throughout time where potential ghosts have been caught on camera in photographs. Mm-hmm. And
this was, I think, was it our second episode or third episode we ever did?
I think third.
It was ghosts caught on camera.
Second or third. Yeah, it was really early on. And I found this article that had so many infamous photos of ghosts caught on camera that just blew my mind. So I wanted to start today's episode talking about some of these, looking at these, reviewing them, and then tell you how you could potentially catch an image of a ghost on camera.
Ooh, okay. This is exciting.
So we're going to start with this one photo. In World War I, there was a squadron that served during the war. And after the war, basically everyone who was surviving in that squadron, they gathered for a photograph. And there was a man whose name was Freddie Jackson, an air mechanic who had accidentally been killed by an airplane propeller 2 days prior to this photo being taken.
Mm-hmm. What a brutal way to go.
Yes. So in addition to this group gathering and taking this photograph, they were also gathering to go to Freddie's funeral that day. Mm-hmm. They take this photo in 1919, and when the photo is developed, they see Freddie Jackson's face in the photograph behind another man in the squadron, and it is a ghostly face. Like, you can see the zoomed in version of it in the bubble. It's
so clear.
It's so clear. It's really just like his face peering out behind the shoulder of another man, and he had died 2 days prior to this photo being taken.
Oh my gosh. It's so hard with these old black and white images, especially when it's all white people because they kind of looked all the same. But you can tell that this is not like some weird thing where like it's the same guy who's being photographed, like his face, because things are different. Like the eyebrows and the eyes, where they're placed is completely different. It's like only the mouth and kind of like that random weird, like stay still for a good 60 seconds while we take this photo.
And everyone in the photo is wearing a hat, but he is not. Like, his spirit is not.
Yeah, you're right. You can see his hairline.
Yeah.
He kind of has the same hairline as Harry Styles.
I find myself thinking about that Harry Styles Florence Pugh movie like far too much. Don't Worry, Darling.
Oh, it was so good. It was so, so good.
Although I didn't like the end because I feel like it ended where it should have been like the middle of the movie, and like there should have been a whole journey for Florence.
Yeah, I know.
It would have been a cool TV show too.
I feel like I like movies like that too, where the ending is kind of what you don't want it to be. It's like the Skeleton Key. Like, I kind of like movies where everyone loses in the end.
I like that too, but I more meant like, but she didn't lose. Like, she got out, you know? So I just like wanted to know like what happened. Because clearly they were going to, I'm not going to ruin it, but they were going to go after her. Anyway, yeah, that's Freddie Jackson's spirit.
That's wild. And it's also one of those things where like, this is a historic photo. There was no reason for there to be some sort of spirit photography done. And if there were spirit photography or like any trickery, it wouldn't make any sense for this photo. One, because there's like 50 people in it, and that would be impossible to like whatever the like technique they use.
We ended up doing spirit photography when we were in, was it DC? Outside of DC on tour.
In Virginia.
We went to, I want to shout out the guy we went to and find his Instagram.
He experimented with spirit photography with us because he'd never done it, but he has the proper equipment to do it. because it's like the old tintype photos. And so we were explaining to him kind of how spirit photography would be captured. And then we did a few tests and attempted to kind of like layer with different like exposures and lighting images of us kind of haunting ourselves.
Landry Dunnad outside of DC, he does tintype photography in his like studio. It's such a cool experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he definitely had not done it prior to this, and it was more of like an experimental thing with us, but it was difficult, and he, you know, has expertise on it, and it's a lot of setup and a lot of lighting and a lot of just to organize it where every single person can like, especially with a big group like this. And also you need the person to be alive to do spirit photography.
Exactly. And how would they know? Like, how would this be? Yeah, it's proof. It's proof of the paranormal.
Okay. Second photo. I'm going to tell you the story. So Mrs. Mabel Chinnery was visiting the grave of her mother in 1959, and she had brought along her camera to take photos of the gravesite. She took a couple photos of her mother's gravestone, and her husband was waiting in the car as she did this. And then she turned and took a photo of her husband in the car. And then they got the film developed. Keep in mind, they were at her mother's gravestone. So she was shocked to find that in the photo that she had taken of her husband in the car, there is her mother sitting in the back seat.
Oh my gosh. This is spooky. And also I'm confused.
Because it kind of looks like a man?
Because it looks like a man, and either a man with glowing white eyes or glowing white bushy eyebrows.
According to this, her mother really had these like big framed glasses.
Oh, so it's the reflection off of the glasses. That would make sense.
It is super spooky because to me, it doesn't look like her. Like, I mean, I don't know what her mother looked like. Obviously, there was no comparison photo, but whatever it is, there's definitely something in the backseat of the car. If she wants to think it was her mother, totally fine with that. It could be any type of spirit because they're at a cemetery.
I mean, it's kind of giving like Mr. Clean. It's kind of giving Eugene Levy.
You're thinking the bushy eyebrows.
The bushy eyebrows. But yeah, I guess it's hard to see because we can't make out hair. I also am curious. Like, it does kind of look like a dress shirt and a suit over it. But that, we have no idea what her mother used to wear.
It could be like a ruffly top, you know? Like, it does kind of look like it's protruding a bit. It just looks very human-like, and I guess they had the photo examined, and whoever studied it, the professional examiner said that it was not a reflection, nor was it a double exposure.
It's so crazy because like the person that's in the car also kind of looks like they're looking towards the camera, because like her husband is looking out the window, and then if this is her mother or whoever it is, the face is, you can't tell because you don't know where the eyes are, but the face is kind of a little bit tilted to look the same direction.
Right.
Oh, I just got the chills a little bit.
I mean, it kind of reminds me, and this is an episode that's going to come out in July on Patreon. So like the episode you did of Strange Things Caught on Google Earth, where there was that little girl behind the tree, and it kind of like, and there's like just certain images that you showed on there where they kind of look like they're looking at the satellite
Google
car
Earth van.
Or whatever the car is that's going by and doing the mapping.
Right. Like that they know. It's not just like randomly captured on film. Like they know that they're being photographed.
I love this idea that ghosts always know like where their camera is.
They'd be so good at, you know, like at all the award shows, they have that one camera thing that goes and it goes shoo, goes really fast. I forget what it's called, but they like get to do like a pose or whatever. It has to be 2 seconds long. What is that called?
I don't know.
There's a specific camera or like method that guy uses. Anyway, I feel like they'd be really good at it because one thing that people tease celebrities about online is that they can never like track the camera because it moves so fast. So they're just like awkwardly like looking into space and then their eyes are trying to figure out where the camera is.
Well, to be
Ghosts
fair,
don't have that issue.
Most acting, you're never supposed to look into the camera. So
right, that's true. It's hard to do the reverse.
Maybe they're too good at their job.
This reminds me, okay, not to revisit some ghost photo stuff that I have nothing to show for it, but there's 2 stories that I have from like personal connections that
I know
have
exactly
ghosts
what
in
you're
photos.
talking about.
Yeah, the first one is, oh God, I so wish we could find this. But my friend Brianna, she had a friend in high school who was babysitting at this one house. And she took a photo of the girl who was like 9 years old at the table. And behind her, you see a man in a suit walking with a briefcase. but his head is kind of blurry. The image is kind of blurry. She panics. She thinks someone's in the house. She's a very tough girl. So she goes and she walks around the whole house looking for who the intruder is, ready to fight him. No one's there. The house is empty. She brings it up to the parents when they get home from their date night. And they're like, oh, yeah, there's some stuff that happens at our house. It's a little bit paranormal. So you might have seen a ghost. So Brianna's sharing this photo that her friend had sent her with us. And as I'm looking at it, I'm like, who is that person that's at the stove? And there's like a woman in a grout fit. Like she's wearing like gray sweatshirt, gray sweatpants.
That's so wild.
And she's cooking at the stove, but you don't even notice her because your eyes immediately go to the doorway where the man is walking. But there were 2 ghosts caught on that photo. I have asked Brianna multiple times if she can find in any old phones or her drives or whatever, if she can find this photo. She can't. She had once sent it to me. I can't find it anywhere. So that's devastating. But there's also one other ghost photo. And my parents told me about this when I was 12. So this for sure, I would never be able to find it because I've never actually seen it. But one of my parents' friends from college, they took a photo. It was like a covered bridge in New England or something, they were on vacation or just sightseeing. And they took a photo on a bridge in New England, a covered bridge. And when they got the photo developed, and this was probably in the 90s or early 2000s. So, they were using film.
Mm-hmm.
When they got the photos developed, there was a floating baby swaddled, just floating next to them.
Which means that there was another ghost that just didn't show up holding this baby.
Holding the baby.
I have full goosebumps. Full goosies.
I know. I want to see these photos again so badly. Because they were so clear. Or how they were, this one was described to me was very clear. And the first one was clear that I did see.
This is such a good call to action because I feel like so many of our listeners have photos of ghosts caught on camera. We've even shown some.
Yes.
I mean, that one of the selfie in the mirror and the ghost girl behind them. Do you remember that one?
Is it the one where the 2 or 3 girls took the photo booth photo and then there's that one extra girl in the background like this?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, or the one where the girl's sitting at the kitchen table and she sees that demon figure in the dress
window.
Oh my God, my nipples.
There's also the one of the
creepy
in the doggy door in the garage. Do you remember that one?
Oh, yes.
Where it's a demon face?
Yes. Okay, we got to find these and put them into the YouTube video as we're referencing them.
Okay, I have one more. I feel like the 3 that I picked are not scary. They're more they can see a person, a very clear person, where it's not demons, which I appreciate. Good job, Sabrina.
Good job. Yeah, you've been surprising us lately.
I know.
With your picks. A little more positive.
Okay, well, now I feel like I'm letting myself down. So don't worry, I'll be spooky again in a second.
No, you're evening things out because we did, this hasn't come out yet, but the encounters that we recorded for the summer, I went a lot darker than I normally do.
Yeah, that's true.
So now we're
balancing.
It's a balance always.
And also the rest of this episode does get a little bit darker. Okay, so the last photo that I'm going to show you all was taken in 1982 by photographer Chris Brackley. He took a photo inside London's St. Botolph's Church, and when it was developed, he was shocked to find up in the loft of the church on the upper right-hand corner of the photograph is what looks like a transparent form of a woman. When the photo was taken, there were only 3 people in the church, so he was very confused. If you go look up at the top right.
I feel like I'm struggling to see this one. Up in the balcony?
Yeah, I think it might just be the quality of this photo, but
the exposure, yeah.
It's a translucent woman.
Ooh, churches are so creepy. I feel like there's a lot of ghostly photos taken at churches too, where it will just be some random extra person sitting in a pew that was never there before.
I also feel like a lot of European churches, and this is from going to a lot of them over the years, they have corpses in them, the mummified types of the nuns or priests, and it is just
they're in these display cases that are glowing, they have lights to
and you can
put them on display.
Them. Yeah,
you're looking at their old withered crispy
bones,
skin,
basically. Yeah, the browning skin. Yeah, it is really. So I don't know much about this church if they have anything like that, but I also, it's a peaceful place. Perhaps this is where you would want to go.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like I would never choose a church in my afterlife because
Me neither.
I
don't
feel
even
like
choose it in my life
no, that's true. I chose it for the snacks in college
because
for
you
like
love
1 year.
communion.
Yeah. And then after they have like, I would sit in the last pew because then I'd run down to the little
Yeah, they have
cave
carrots
area
and
that they
hummus and
had.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was veggie cream
Snack.
cheese and like
Oh.
garden Triscuits. Oh, it was so good. I didn't go for the right reasons. And I don't think I would go for the right reasons in the afterlife either if I went.
I think I would go in the afterlife because I love the architecture and I love looking at them. Like it would be a fun way to, if I had like, there are a lot of places in the world I'll never be able to see in my life. So in my afterlife, it'd be fun to go be a tourist and, stop by, check out.
True.
And, I wouldn't have to follow all of the rules because I'm a ghost.
True. Although, I guess, I don't know if this only entices you more to go or if it dissuades you a bit, but I feel like almost every single email we've ever received about a haunted church, there's been absolutely nothing positive about it. And it has been dark, spooky, scary spirits. And so do you want to risk?
Yeah, I do.
That. Okay. Yeah, I could have guessed that, but
Yeah,
I don't. So I just want the snacks.
Speaking of risking that and, me being kind and sweet and sharing less scary things, let's get scary again, okay? Let's do it. So you might be like, oh, this is so fascinating. These photos have ghosts in them. I would be so curious if I could ever catch a photo of a ghost. Well, you're in luck. You could. All you have to do is what I'm about to tell you. It's called the picture game, and it's horrifying, and you might encounter something very dark and scary. But if you want to try it, email us and let us know what you find.
Oh, no. This is already making me think of that movie that's had a million remakes, the name that I never remember, where they take photos.
Oh, yes. The developed one where they get developed and there's...
Yeah. And it like keeps coming closer and closer. And then at the end, like he's trying to take a picture of where the ghost is and it's like, he has to take like a selfie and it's like crouching on him. Yeah. Ugh.
So if you ever wanted to dabble into something a little bit dangerous and tempt fate when it comes to the paranormal and immerse yourself in danger and spirit photography, this is the game for you. This is the picture game. And again, I'm just going to preface every time we talk about paranormal games, at the top of them we say, we do not recommend that you try this game at home, but if you do, please email us.
Tell us what happens. But don't tell the spirit world that we told you to do it because we definitely didn't and we're not liable.
Right, we're not liable. As you take heed, we also have some warnings about this game. If any of the following should occur, stop playing immediately and close out with the farewell, which I will get to at the end of this. If anyone in your group starts acting uncharacteristically or one or more participants states that they are frightened, please end the game. So basically, just don't play the game.
Yeah. I'd say I'm scared in the first 2 seconds and then we'd have to stop the game.
In order to play the picture game, you need yourself and at least one other human living participant. The more the merrier or scarier, depending on the outcome. You will need the following. There are 7 things that you will need. A length of string, rope, or similar material that should be long enough to make a circle when the ends are knotted together. So basically, this circle it could be as big as like this. I mean, I know this is not a perfect circle, but like that size.
It doesn't have to be huge. Yeah. Okay.
It does not have to be huge. You'll have to put like a glass of water inside of it and basically just need to have some type of surface area. Then you will need scissors, a knife, or another sharp object. I recommend scissors. 1 small mirror for every participant. So if there's 2 of you, you need 2 mirrors. If there's 7 of you, you need 7 small mirrors. A camera with flash capabilities.
I'm curious. I feel like the back of iPhones can be so reflective and like the screens.
Doesn't count.
Does
I don't
that
think you should
count
do that.
as a mirror?
I don't think you should do that.
Because it's almost like black. So it feels almost like scrying into your own cell phone a little bit.
Yeah, I
but
don't know.
Okay, just a regular mirror.
I think, yeah, like one of those little like makeup mirrors or just like...
Yeah, little compact.
Yeah. And then the camera with flash capabilities, they recommend not using a phone. They recommend using like either a Polaroid or one of those like digital cameras. 5, you need a drinking glass. 6, you need a beverage. And I don't know why this is the recommendation, but it says preferably alcoholic. Wine is recommended.
Okay. Just maybe more enticing for the spirits.
Well, so yeah. So at first I like saw that and I was like, because my interpretation was that it was for you to drink. And I was like, absolutely not. Do not drink while doing this. I feel like that's one
and like
rule.
lower your own guards too.
Yeah. But it is not for you. It is for said spirit or spirits that you're going to make communication with. So maybe they prefer wine.
Yeah.
And the last thing you need is a quiet room. So let's discuss the red flags that we see right now, because I see a lot. I think one, it's a paranormal game. So red flag.
The whole thing is a
red flag. And then my second red flag was the alcohol involved in this game. It seems a bit questionable. What other red flags do you see?
Perhaps the need for sharp objects and creating like, a circle, which is kind of like an offering, and I don't know, just generally trying to make contact with spirits. Seems like a red flag, even though we do it often.
We literally talk about them all the time. Also, the mirrors is very like portal-esque.
Although I will say a green flag here is that more people are able to participate. I feel like it's a big red flag when it has to be one person alone and no one else is allowed to do it. Like those games where you have to play by yourself and it's like, okay, well, what happens if something goes wrong?
Sure.
That's not good.
I will say with this game, though, the more people you have, I feel like there's the more room for error.
Mm-hmm. Especially if it's saying as soon as someone feels off or they're not acting like themselves or they're scared to stop the game, because does everyone need to agree to stop the game? It's kind of like the Ouija board thing where it's like someone's going to screw up. Someone's going to be like, no, let's keep going, or just do things wrong. And then do you close that portal correctly?
Right. And then also we'll get to a point where like when the ritual is actually beginning or going on, it's like, how do you end it at this point? And then also one of the rules is like, we'll get to it, but feels really contradictory to this warning. But anyway, we continue on. The game, as all good paranormal games do, begins at midnight. So in this quiet room, the group should tie the string/rope into a circle by tying the ends together in a knot. So you basically fold it in, tie it in a knot, place the rope in the circle form on the ground in the middle of the room. Okay. You place the drinking glass inside that circle and fill it with the alcoholic beverage of your choice or water, whatever it is. This is a massive warning. Do not, for any reason, at any time during the game, step inside this rope circle, ever.
Okay, so then you're better off making it really small then so that you don't accidentally enter its space. So just big enough for the items that you're supposed to put inside of it, no more.
Agreed. So you put this rope with a glass of water and drink on the ground in the circle, and then you and your group form a circle around this rope circle. Everyone sits on the ground, and participants place their mirror in front of them, the reflective part of the mirror facing up to the ceiling, so that the reflection is of the ceiling. And then you turn off the lights and you're ready to begin and play the picture game. They do recommend that you have one leader, basically, so that they are orchestrating the night and they're in charge of turning the lights off, turning the lights on, and then doing the farewell at the end of the game. So basically, you're ready to play. You're all sitting in your circle. The mirrors are faced up in front of you. The rope is in the middle with the glass of whatever beverage. And the game begins with an invitation. It's kind of like an intention setting, which I appreciate. All participants hold hands and close their eyes. The very first participant, and this is probably the person who you've elected or who maybe dragged you here, because I imagine there's some unwilling participants here. The first participant should speak the following words. I trust you. Then, going around in the circle, each person should repeat those words one by one. I trust you. To the right. I trust you. Going around. No one is allowed to speak over each other. And that's like a big thing, is make sure everyone is waiting their turn and going around the circle. I trust you. Then the next thing, this is what's hard, is that one of saying I trust you, no one can like overlap each other. But the next phrase that is spoken has to be spoken in unison. Now they must in unison repeat the following phrase 3 times. The door is open. Please come in. The door is open. Please come in. The door is open. Please come in.
It's making me nervous that you're actually saying it. Although I realize you haven't set up the rest of the stuff, but I'm still, my heart is going pitter-patter.
Pitter-patter. If we were recording at night, I'd be terrified, but it's sunny as can be. After the 3rd time of saying the door is open, please come in unison, everyone may open their eyes. And now we begin phase 2. Phase 2 is called the sitting. So after the invitation, the first participant will begin with taking their camera and they say, I caught you. They then point the camera towards the middle of the circle where the rope and glass is and take a photo with flash. They then pass the camera to the next person and they repeat those actions. You are not allowed to review or look at the photos that you have taken at all until the game has been completed. So basically, I would say, I caught you, take a photo. I'd pass it to the person to my right or left, however you decide to do it. They do the same thing. I caught you, take a photo. Pass it on. I caught you, take a photo, pass it on. This has to be repeated 3 times so that everyone in the circle has taken 3 photos.
So a lot of repetition of 3.
Right. But also, this is what's so scary. And this is why I feel like having a bigger group would be even scarier, because then you're sitting there for so much longer, listening to people say, I caught you taking a photo. I caught you, taking a photo. And just doing that over and over. If you have like 12 people, imagine how long that takes. Imagine how much more energy is like festering in this circle and how many more spirits are coming through. The anxiety, like it just, woo.
Well, and too, certain personalities that would be in that, it would be hard to focus for some people, or some people might be like, this is silly, and start to make fun of it and kind of taunt the situation.
Yeah.
Because the longer it goes on, the more you're kind of like, okay.
And
what's
no
next?
one's allowed to leave the circle until the game is done, like until the farewell has been done. So if people are getting nervous and anxious, I'm sure the instinct for some people is to flee, like fight or flight, right? So,
right. Yeah.
But you're not allowed to. You can't leave. And there was a warning issued on multiple websites that if any participant begins to cry or feel nauseous, they should not take a photo, but simply pass the camera onto the next participant, but they cannot leave the circle. But see, this is what is confusing, because the other warning that I said at the very beginning was if anyone feels frightened or starts acting uncharacteristically, to end the game. But now this is saying just skip taking a photo.
That is confusing. I wouldn't know what to do.
I think the most important thing to do is to never leave in the middle of the game. That if someone starts crying and everyone else is like worried, just go skip to the farewell, do the farewell, end the game. I think that's probably the safer bet, rather than being like, hey, you sit there crying in fear while we continue to play this game.
Right. And then they just have to wait another like 30 minutes for you to get to the farewell.
But so once the camera has passed through the circle 3 times and people have each said, I caught you, and taken a photo 3 times, and it's returned to the original first participant of the game, you must now complete the farewell. And again, do not leave the circle. Do not step inside the rope circle. Do not move from where you are. And do not review the photos until the farewell has been completed. So now, the farewell. All living human participants must close their eyes and chant in unison again the following phrase. It is time to go home. Say it 3 times. It is time to go home. It is time to go home. It is time to go home. Then everyone opens their eyes and takes that mirror, and instead of it facing the ceiling, they flip it upside down so that it's facing the ground. Basically closing.
God. I thought you were going to say like, then you have to stare at yourself. No. It's like, oh, that's the scariest way to have to close out a game.
Basically closing the portal. Then, this is again why it's smart to have one person who's kind of in charge. So everyone flips their mirror down, everyone's staying in the circle, but the main participant will take the sharp object, this is why I say scissors, and go stand up and go cut the rope circle, no longer making it a circle. The others in the group may now stand and move around, but the game is not over until one person takes that drinking glass that is full of alcohol outside and pours it into, it was recommended, dirt. So basically into earth, not concrete or road. And the game is now complete, and you may review the photos. You are recommended to look at them very carefully and see if you were really alone, or did you perhaps do as you intended and invite a spirit into your circle and catch a photo of them.
I'm going to say something crazy.
Do you want to do this?
I think I would actually play this one. This one seems... Because the other ones
we've
covered, you like enter some weird world and you're like battling and you're like in these cabs alone, or there's these creatures and elevators. This one feels better because what happens paranormally
Corinne,
is just seen on photos afterwards.
We're doing
so
this.
I actually would do it.
Let's do it in one of our our October episodes. Let's pick a paranormal game that we could play for like 2 of the episodes. We'll play 2 paranormal games in October.
Wait, 2? Wait, hold on.
We'll pick another one that you feel comfortable with.
I just agreed to one.
I know. Well, I'm pushing my luck and asking for 2.
Okay, we'll see about the second one, but I will agree to this one. I think that this one could be interesting.
Okay.
I don't want to do it again in my house.
Okay, we can find somewhere
here.
else to do it. Here's the thing is I think in addition to this game and the invitation in the beginning, I think prior to all of this, we set intentions, like even more beyond that.
Yeah.
You know, it's we invite you, but it's who are we inviting? What type of spirit are we inviting? Positive spirits only, please. Nothing dark. Because think about it, the more people you have too, the more mirrors you have facing up in this like weird ritualistic circle. We're creating this dome of like a portal. So I do think you just have to be really, really intentional with what you're asking for and what you're inviting.
Right. Okay. Because part of me was like, I want to do it outside, but it sounds like you can't because you have to
do it in a dark room inside at midnight. Although I wonder if you could just do it any time of day. Like, why does it have to be midnight?
Yeah, I struggle to stay up until then.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
We could try it earlier.
Yeah, we can try it. If nothing happens, then maybe I wake you up at like 11:30 and we try it again.
Okay. I'm agreeing to this one.
I'm like shocked, but also like not going to push it because I'm just excited. I'm like, who is she?
I'm getting braver with every ghost hunt we do.
I love it. Wait, I'm like really excited now because I have a whole idea for our October episodes.
Okay.
Okay, but there are people who have played Corinne, and I found a couple of experiences that people shared online.
Amazing.
So a lot of these are older experiences. So like 2015 and 2017, I couldn't find any recent experiences. So you and I might
we'll have something to add to the pot.
The newest addition to this. Aretha said, I did this ritual as a part of research and only got one good picture. It wasn't a figure, but more of just a white blob. So I'm not sure if it was a ghost or camera flare. Lauren W. wrote, I did this with my brother and he accidentally took a video. In the video, we didn't see anything, but we heard a sound that we didn't hear while playing the game. And it sounded like a voice and was really creepy.
Ew.
Ice Queen said, I did it. And one of my friends said that he is not scared of ghosts. And when we reviewed the picture he took, there was a cute little girl holding a teddy bear beside him. Now, though, this guy is in the hospital.
What the Okay. I really should have waited till the end of this episode to offer up doing this.
To be fair, though, this guy was like, I'm not scared of ghosts. It sounds like he went into it with this very like, come at me.
Yeah.
Approach.
Okay, well, I am. So.
Yeah.
Are you listening, ghosts? I am scared. Don't hurt me.
I feel like Greg and Dana, with our conversation of them, made me really way more open to everything because, you know, when we were talking to them, we're like, it's all about intention and it's all about understanding.
True.
I mean, think about the terrifying things that they've encountered. And for some reason, they have approached it with, I don't think they all have bad intentions. I think that you just need to understand them.
Yeah, they are. They're just the kindest people.
I know.
But I guess, like, to your point, what we experienced at the Conjuring House and even what we took with us from learning how to investigate with them to the Lizzie Borden house, we did have a lot more activity compared to what a lot of people experience in those homes. And, you know, part of it could be like, hey, we have a certain energy that maybe brings all the ghosts to the yard. Or there's just like this mutual respect from the top where they're like a little bit more willing to play with us and see what's going on, knowing that we're not going to push them and that we will back off the second that they ask us to.
Okay, so the last experience, and again, this is, I think, people who have bad intentions, bad things come. This is from Scary Ghost Believer 99. They said, LOL, I did it, and one of the bullies from my school wanted to do it with us. They were really scared, but we still did it. At the end of the game, I saw there was a person with ripped clothing and hair covered in blood in mine. But the thing that we saw on the bully's photo was really, really scary.
What was it?
And what it reminds me of is Talk to Me.
I was just about to say that. Initially, when they said the girl was like bloody and stuff, it made me think, oh, part of me would want to try to reach out to the spirit again and be like, do you need help? Like, what's going on? But then another part of me thought of Talk to Me.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe you don't want to approach this again.
You don't. And that's kind of what I like is, okay, I'm hesitant to say my concern with this game because I don't want to scare you.
We need some more people to do it with us. I think I'll feel better in numbers.
I think 4 is the max, though. Like, I don't think you could do more than that. I would get too nervous with how many times and how long it takes.
Okay. I'll recruit a couple friends for when you're here.
Okay. So here's what makes me nervous. In the same way talk to me is it feels very much like us humans are trying to, it feels very one-sided benefits, right? It's like we want a photo of you rather than we want to talk to you and have a conversation with you and hear your story and understand you. It's very much like, ooh, can we get something from you? Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like we're taking advantage of them a little bit without giving them, like we're asking a lot. Like, show up in my picture, please, but I don't want to know who you are. I don't want to talk to you. Like, I just want like, ooh, the thrill of this.
Yeah, that's true. And the whole like opening and closing of the portal, like it does feel just like meant to attract spirits who want to instill fear in you as well.
Yes. But to be fair, if I were a ghost and you were playing this game, I would for sure show up for you. I would not feel taken advantage of. I would thrive I would just like be waiting who's playing the picture game. And I would just like pop in and make a funny face.
It's you in every single photo, but you're just like, doing
I change my outfit.
Weird things every time.
Costume change.
Or like if you can do sign language too, like that would be a pretty sweet way to communicate each photo. You're like signing something different.
Well, if it was a video, then you'd be able to like sign a full thing, but just have a sign, like literally write in Sharpie.
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Sabrina.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. Be man with sign, but it's ghost with sign.
Ghost with sign. Pedro Pascal is daddy. Like, what the fuck?
Olivia Benson is mommy.
Like, oh, clearly this ghost is from 2022.
Now I'm thriving. I feel like there's so many aspirations that I have in the ghostly realm. Like I want to be grimming and reaping. I want to be ghost with sign. I want to be on the board of knowing everything.
Who's to say you can't do it all?
I feel like we need an afterlife scroll and this life scroll.
True. I mean, depending on how long you get to chill in the afterlife, like you could do a lot of it.
That's true.
You know, each year, like, can you just change what you're doing?
How does time work in the afterlife? We don't know.
I don't know. And also, do you really want to work that much?
Is it really work when you're having fun?
That's true. Do you ever need to sleep, or is there just like unlimited energy? And so it just feels exciting to try these different things.
I don't know.
Or is there a man on the other side that you want to stick it to?
Yeah. I feel like my Italian is coming out and I'm really using my hands today.
The hand gestures, yeah. I just hope that, if we don't work because we have to work on the other side, we work because we want to.
Wait, I had really weird dreams last night.
What did you dream?
It's super weird. It was like a dream where, you know, in everywhere, everything, everywhere, all at once. The sausage fingers universe.
Yeah, the hot dog fingers.
Yeah. I had like a dream that everyone in my life lost their hands. Like no one had hands.
Oh my God. That's horrible.
And it was a weird...
It's disturbing. So weird. Did you have hands?
No.
Just everyone was without hands.
There was also more.
That's
I
weird.
feel like someone was like, there was a weird emergency and this is what it was. And I can't remember all the specifics, but there was a weird emergency and we needed to do something, but none of us had hands, so we couldn't do it.
Oh, wow. So maybe it's like feeling a little bit out of control or something?
Huh, what does that have to do with my life?
At first I was like, maybe if you chop off the hands, there's nothing to shackle and you're freed. But now it's like, no, there's an emergency and you can't do anything to fix it. I'm just trying to interpret your dream. I dreamt of you last night.
You did?
But you bought a house in Marblehead in my dream. So.
Well, maybe that's a premonition.
I think it's based on years and years of conversations where you tell me you're going to.
Listen.
I don't think I'm predicting anything.
It is way more real now than it has ever been.
Yeah. I think my brain is just trying so hard to make it happen.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's the picture game. When I was researching it, I was like really curious where this game came from. Like, who started it? Where did it originate? Because I feel like when you look up paranormal games, there's so many. And Bloody Mary is one of like the OGs we understand. And Ouija boards, for example. And you can look through history and understand where it came from, what the origin was, why it was created. This one, I couldn't really find anything. And then I started looking into when the first flash photography and like those types of cameras were created.
Mm-hmm.
And the first built-in flash camera was released in 1957. And we have a photo of it. It's called the Kodak's Brownie Starfish, which wild name.
Whoa, bring those back. Why don't we name them something cool like that again?
Right? So it's like, did it start kind of around then, or is it inspired by spirit photography and tintype photos and this belief that Because when cameras first came out, there was a lot of superstition and people were like, this is not good. We're capturing photos of our souls. What if it could steal our soul? I think there was just a lot of, similar to when like video games came out, it was like, this is brainwashing people. I think it was just such a new form of something that we didn't understand totally. So there was a fear associated with it.
Well, I think, was it the first like moving picture where it showed like a train or something or like a horse?
Coming right at
and
the screen.
Everyone ran out because it was so real and it was so different. It just like wasn't understood. Your body and your brain could not process what was going on. And so, people were running from the theaters in fear.
Right. So I don't know what the origin is. It could have just been someone like you and I, Corinne, who was like, I'm going to just try to do a ritual, because these also are very ritualistic in a sense. Like, what's the difference between this and a seance? When you do a seance or you do some type of like communication with the spirit realm, there is a lot of individualized practice, a lot of like what you feel is right, a lot of how do you set your intentions and share and show up to the paranormal world. So maybe this is just like one person's what they did and it worked.
True, but I guess going back to your point where it's like it's about intention, and this just doesn't feel like it's about communication. It's strictly about making one point of contact and then being done.
So here's my pitch to you. When we play this game, we do a big like intention setting in the beginning and maybe perhaps try to communicate with spirits first and then do this game and say, if you would like to show yourself to us, where you're going to do this practice and this ritual that allows you to show yourself to us. And then
I like that a lot
the
more.
steps of the game.
Right. That's better, because then it's like, we're doing the game. It gives you an opportunity, if you want to do this. And we've already talked to them. So it's less of like hey, we're doing this game and this game is going to make us scared. So come on, demons and other weird entities that want to scare us. It won't be as attractive to them.
I'm like really excited to do this.
I'm going to regret this. But I said I'd do it. Okay, so I picked 2 short stories that I'm going to read. And both of them I picked because they talk about what seems to be an innocent childhood game becoming a little bit more creepy. Hide and seek.
I love these types of stories. I actually think
too.
In one of our upcoming encounters, I picked like hide and seek specific games.
Hide and seek is a scary game,
It's
or like
so
any
terrifying.
variation of it, like Black Cat, like anything like that, where someone is hiding or multiple people are hiding, and then there's like a separated group like trying to find them. I also love the entire time,
but I love it.
It is very creepy.
Eek.
Okay, this is from Erin. Hey ghouls, I have a couple strange stories for you. First off, let me say that I have definitely joined the pyramid scheme, and I've gotten all of my friends obsessed with you too.
Fuck yeah.
Thank you. Back in high school, a group of about 8 friends and I were nerdy little hoodlums, and we decided to play cops and robbers around a friend's neighborhood. It was probably about 1 a.m., and we broke up into 2 teams, the cops and the robbers. Duh. And each team got their own color, and each team member got a flashlight or a laser beam thingy that shone only that color. I don't know why my friend had so many colorful flashlights, lol. So my team was the robbers. If you're not familiar with the game, the robbers run and hide all night while the cops try to catch all of them. So we devised a light system to communicate with each other as robbers, since we had to be silent. Our color was red, so 3 quick red flashes meant, come over here, and 1 long red flash meant, stay where you are, etc. So the night goes on, we're having fun, we're being annoying, general high school things, and my friend and I were walking down the street kind of far from her house, and it was just the 2 of us. In the distance, by the neighborhood lake, we saw 3 quick red flashes, which meant, come over here. And we moved slowly in that direction. Suddenly, I felt a tap on my shoulder. I turned around, and it was my other teammates. They asked where we were going, and then all 4 of us watched in horror as the 3 red flashes flickered again in the pitch black.
I don't know if I should be more scared of the potential of it being a ghost or a human.
I know. When I first read this, I was like, is there just like an actual human being lurking and trying to scare them? Although I feel like that would be a classic like dad move where they overhear what's going on with the kids and they're like, I'm going to freak them out.
I'm going to get my red flashlight.
Before we even had time to discuss, the other group of girls ran up behind us thinking that they had caught us and that they had won the game. Well, if we were all standing here, then who is that over there? We all sprinted home and we were out of breath. We wondered, 1, who that could have been, and 2, the scariest part was not only that we were being watched long enough for them to know our codes and what they meant, but that they wanted us to come closer. After that night, we never talked about this again. I think it scared us too much to try and solve what actually happened. We knew for a fact that everyone else in her neighborhood was asleep because we had been running around all of the houses that night. This next story is a quickie, but it did spook me. Then again, so does everything. I work at a preschool in an old church building. And year after year, the kids would talk about a ghost named Mr. Nobody. He lives in the bathroom. It freaks me out because we as teachers never tell kids the story, but somehow every new group of kids consistently talks about this same ghost, Mr. Nobody.
The fact that he has a name called Mr. Nobody, like, he must say that that's his name.
Yeah. When they're like, what's your name? And he's like, Nobody. I'm Nobody. And then they're like, oh, it's Mr. Nobody.
Jeez.
One day, I was the last one in the school with a kid who was late getting picked up, and I was helping him wash his hands in the bathroom, and to cheer him up, I started doing a little silly dance. All of a sudden, clear as day, I heard a loud laugh break out from behind me. I turned around to ask my boss why she was still in the building, but there was no one there. It was just a wall, and the bathroom was completely empty. So, no thank you, Mr. Nobody, but I guess I'm glad he liked my dance. Thank you for all that you do. See you on the other side, Aaron.
Okay, I mean, Mr. Nobody likes your dance. That's fun.
That is fun.
You know, he's like enjoying it. Clearly, he enjoys the like childlike spirit if he's at this place, you know?
Yeah, I wonder if he was a teacher in the past. Like, he definitely, it seems like he would have to be connected to the school, probably. Yeah. By the way that he seems to be like positively interacting with the kids.
And that's also like a goofy, like silly, I'm Mr. Nobody. I feel like that's like a fun thing to say with kids.
Although it's a little weird that he's hanging out in the kids' bathroom.
Agreed. But maybe it's because the water and he just can manifest there, you know?
Or too many kids played, when he was a teacher back in the day, too many kids played Bloody Mary in that bathroom and it became super haunted by Bloody Mary. So he's like, I'm going to spend my afterlife in this mirror making sure the Bloody Mary doesn't come out and crawl.
That is such a beautiful interpretation, Corinne.
Thank you. I'm trying to make it better.
The red lights, I'm very curious where it was drawing them towards, like if that could give you more information. I know that they were like, let's just not talk about it. Let's not think about it. It's too creepy.
Yeah, because it's clearly something that stuck with them for so long. And they live in the neighborhood too. So part of me was like, oh, is there just like some sort of light that someone has like hooked up on a sensor or something in their house?
It feels too
or like in their backyard.
And too coincidental.
And you would think that they would experience it again at some point.
Right. No, this is like, it feels like it was luring them in, whether it was a joke or not.
Totally. Okay, I have one more story. This is called Duncan is Where the Ghosts Run. Hey, ladies. I found your podcast about 3 months ago, and I'm hooked. I've been interested in the paranormal my entire life, literally since I was 2 years old. I would see angels in my room at night. I would tell my mom, and well, that would be that. I would tell my dad, and he would want full details. So from an early age, I confided in my best friend all of my ghostly experiences, and my dad always believed in me.
No, I love that your dad is your best friend.
I know, how sweet. I have 2 stories that to this day still freak me the fuck out. The first one, around a year after my husband and I got married, we moved back to my hometown from his hometown, and we were staying in a trailer that my grandfather rented to us. I was big and pregnant, and it was winter in WNC, so I basically lounged around all day in my PJs while my husband was out working. Okay, so maybe I should give you 2 a little background before I get further into this. My husband is a strict non-believer in basically everything. He's a truck driver, so nothing phases him, or so I thought.
I was going to say, I feel like truck drivers see and experience some of the weirdest shit.
The most.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so I was around 30-ish weeks, and I could no longer move without having to nap for 2 hours. I was laying on the couch watching TV, dozing off, and I hear, okay, she's asleep. What now? My heart starts racing because I knew I was the only one in there, and there was no way anyone else could have gotten in. But being young and alone and a whale, I was always sure that I had the doors locked. I jump up as fast as I could, LOL, so slowly. And I searched the entire place while I was on the phone with my dad. He came over and he got me because it was snowing and your girl doesn't do snow. And I went and I stayed with my parents and my sister, who was 9 at the time, until my husband got back the following week. Fast forward to the week after, I had my son. I was sitting in the living room at 3 a.m. feeding my son, and I thought I heard my husband, who was passed out in the bedroom, lucky dog, get up and go to the bathroom. I'm talking door opening, light coming on, and everything. So I holler for him and nothing. Thinking that he's ignoring me, I get up and I walk back, but the bathroom door is open, the lights are on, the bedroom door is shut, but my husband is fast asleep, snoring. What the fuck? I put my son in his crib, I wake up my husband, I tell him what happened, and of course he says, I just imagined the whole thing.
Nope.
Okay. Fast forward again to my son being almost 2. In this time, he's learning how to walk, he can say a few words, and his favorite game is hide and seek. He wakes up from his nap and he waddles into the bathroom asking me where the little girl went. He's an only child, so there is no little girl. I hear 2 distinct giggles. One is my son, and the other, I have no explanation for.
Oh my God.
A few weeks go by, and while he's still playing with this little girl, a new spirit shows up, and it's a little boy. And they put little boy in quotations. You'll understand the quotations soon.
Okay.
My son, this girl, and this boy play every single day, from sun up to sundown. Sitting in the living room while my boy is asleep in the bedroom, I'm on the phone with my bestie, let's call her Elise, and it's around 2 a.m. I leave my TV on and all of the lights, and I basically run to my bedroom and I shut the door. I lay down and I tell Elise that I'm going to try to get some sleep, and we're talking about hanging out later, and we both hear, hello, in a man's voice, but it's coming from my closet, which the crib is blocking. I turned on the light, I grab my son, and me and Elise kind of just sit there and ask each other numerous questions if the other heard that, because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going crazy. It definitely happened, and I wasn't crazy. That morning, my son wakes up asking me where, quote, Papa went, because he scared him. After breakfast, I'm cleaning up and I hear, oh, hey, little one, in a man's voice, and it sent chills down my spine. It was the same voice from the closet. So I call my dad in tears and I tell him what had happened. And the next thing I know, my son is scrambling to get out the door because Papa hurt him. We are in a full down meltdown mode now. And I should note that although I wasn't technically in the same room as him, I had eyes on him the entire time. So I throw my shoes on and to my dad's we go until once again my husband comes home. We get to my dad's. I lift up my son's shirt because he's complaining that his back is hurting. And there are 3 red welts going down the center of his back with no explanation.
Baby.
So I freak. We get permission to ride in the truck with my hubs. So for my boy's 2nd birthday, we are at his favorite place in the entire world, Daddy's truck. 2 weeks go by and I'm ready to be home. So we get back and we're laying down trying to take a nap, and my boy sits up straight in his bed and is staring at the corner of the room and says, no, Papa, that will hurt. I look at my husband and I'm like, bam, I told you. My 2-year-old stands up, turns around, headbutts the wall and says, see, I told you. My husband grabs my son, I grab my clothes and we leave. I never allowed my son to step foot back in that place, and Papa was never mentioned again. The little girl is still around, and I, just like my dad, have never doubted or questioned what my son saw and still sees. He's now 7, and he mentions the little girl on occasion. The quote-unquote little boy was never seen after Papa came around, which led me to believe that Papa was this little boy, and he was trying to gain my son's trust and hurt him.
Yeah. I hate that the ghost called himself Papa, too. It's almost like,
I know.
I'm your Papa. You listen to me and you do what I say.
Right. And his daddy wasn't home all the time, too, to protect him, too. So it's like,
oh, that's so sad.
Oh, my gosh. I can't even imagine the fear that Samantha is, who sent this email in, that Samantha felt.
So scary.
Okay, Samantha's 2nd story. Me and Elise had got jobs working together on the 3rd shift at our favorite place, Dunkin' Donuts. She had a family friend that also worked on the 3rd shift, and we heard stories but thought that she was just trying to scare us. Turns out she wasn't.
Oh, gosh.
We would be in the back making donuts, and our locker door would just fly open, or you would feel like someone was watching you. Out of the corner of your eye, you would see this tiny little girl with reddish brown hair, a red shirt, and blue jeans or khakis, and she would walk or run past the walkway from the back to the front. Obviously, knowing that there were only 2 or 3 people, depending on the night, we knew that it wasn't one of them, and it would make the hair on the back of your neck stand up. We would walk outside, and we would see her hiding under the tables or near the bathrooms. We would ask her not to scare us anymore, and she would just disappear for the night. Next night, same thing would happen. We just kind of got used to it and we went along with it until one night Elise was running late and I was the only one in the Dunkin' Donuts.
Scary.
I was taking orders, I was making food and drinks and everything, and I start hearing things fall in the back, like metal pans falling off of the rack, plastic bins tipping over, the freezer sounds like it's being wrecked. Obviously, knowing how I was alone, I quietly stepped outside until Elise got there. We walk back in, and there are cups and napkins all over the front. The back is destroyed. We call our manager in. We watch the tapes back, and there is no one there, but shit is going everywhere. Then the next week, it just stopped. No more weird feelings. No more seeing stuff out of the corner of your eye. Nothing.
Weird.
Neither one of us work there now, but there hasn't been anything else that has happened that we've been told of. So very weird. I have more stories that I will soon leave you with. So until next time, Samantha.
I feel like this is common at Dunkin' Donuts and like Starbucks. Like why?
Yeah, coffee shops.
I feel like we've heard multiple. We even had someone come on our campfire stories a couple months ago who works at Starbucks and was in like the back room and said like cups would be like knocked down all the time.
Yeah. And then it would be like aggressive. Like weren't their hair was getting pulled and stuff? Or like they were getting kind of like shoved.
It also reminds me of Danielle, who is one of our Facebook moderators.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember where she works, but she was like in the office and there's a video of things being moved around.
Yeah, it's
like
an
a mini
amusement
golf
park or something.
Yeah.
Or mini golf.
Something
like
like
it's some
that.
sort of attraction like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was in the back office.
Which I have so much nostalgic kid memories from Dunkin' Donuts because I feel like it was such an exciting moment when you go to Dunkin' Donuts, you got to pick out your donut. And so if I'm a kid, I guess I would be down to haunt this place, but I'm so curious who this little girl is, why she's there, and then also where did she go? Did she leave with one of the customers?
Right. It is confusing. It's also wild that it was so consistent, and it's crazy that they would see her with their eyes, but then on camera wouldn't see the spirit, but would still see the chaos happening, which I'm like, where are those tapes? Why is that not on the internet?
I want to see them.
I want to see them so badly. And also, I really need to know where this Dunkin' Donuts is because I understand Dunkin' Donuts is all over the U.S., but
there's a lot of them.
I live in a state where it's the home of Dunkin' Donuts, and so the largest concentration. So part of me is like, oh my God, did Samantha work at a Massachusetts Dunkin' Donuts? Am I near it? Can I go? I guess the girl isn't there, though.
Okay, here's what I'm thinking, though. Okay, because I feel like coffee shops and Dunkin' Donuts probably get so many customers. And I'm curious if like one day a customer who happened to be medium walked in and saw the little girl and was like, what's up, little girl? Do you need peace? Let me help you. And had this whole little like cleansing of the Dunkin' Donuts and tried to help the spirit. But we would just never know because she just got her coffee, maybe sat down for a minute, had a little like conversation with the ghost and went on their way.
Yeah, that's true. That definitely is a possibility.
Anything's possible.
I'm also curious.
It comes to the paranormal.
Anything's possible. America runs on Dunkin' and ghost stories, apparently. I am curious about the little girl that plays with Samantha's son because it seems like she's good, and like the fact that she's still around and he's 7 years old and they would still play hide and seek and various games together. And I have some concern for this little girl.
Because of Papa being around?
About Papa. Like what?
What was her take on Papa?
Right.
I'm very curious. Okay. The selfish part of me wants you, Samantha, to ask your son to communicate with the little girl and ask about Papa. But maybe it brings back too many scary memories, so maybe not. But I'm curious.
Yeah. Or summons Papa to where they are now.
Yeah, that's true. Let's not, but also like it would be cool.
Yeah. We're just thinking about it, but we don't want you to do it.
But we don't want you to do it. Yeah. But if you do, let us know.
But yeah, if it just naturally kind of happens. I mean, this is also Samantha's grandfather's trailer, so I wonder if anything else happened in the trailer that they know of, if anyone else ever like rented it out.
Sounds like Samantha has more stories, so we'll have to find out. Following up.
Tell us.
Speaking of telling us things, if you happen to play any picture game or paranormal game, oh, there's a squirrel. Hello.
The definition of distracted squirrel. Quite
Well,
literally.
I saw the shadow behind my curtain, so it was like kind of spooky, but then it like hopped and it was just, no, it's just staring in. I have it split open like the tiniest bit and it's staring in through the crack. It's cute. And he's like, what are you doing? What's that over there?
Podcasting, squirrel. Come take a seat and listen to some ghost stories.
He had a moment that I just had about him and he had it about me. So we really we really had a connection.
Oh, human.
He's like, that's nuts. Oh, human recording. Anyway, if you have any experiences with the paranormal, if you've played any paranormal games like the picture game, if you have been to a haunted Dunkin' Donuts, literally any experience that is odd, strange with the supernatural, cryptids, aliens, please email them to us at twogirlsoneghostpodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to rate and review us on iTunes. And if you would like episodes 1 week early and ad-free, plus bonus episodes every month, plus campfire stories every Tuesday, please join us on Patreon. It's $5 a month and you get all of that and more.
And if you're a part of our Patreon or you're about to join and you're curious about book club, if you would like to read September House over the next couple weeks, we are about to have our book club about that book.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could just join to kind of like see what it's like.
Yeah.
You can follow us on social media, and also shout out to our editor and producer, Jamie Ryan, for editing both the audio and the video.
We love you all so much, and we will see you next week.
And we will also see you on the other side.
Very spooky.